Hello everyone, a very good morning, good afternoon and good evening to all of the viewers from around the world. This is your host Vaibhav. For today's session of correlation and regression, we will be continuing our analysis of the same class of financial instrument to see if we can take the arbitrage opportunity if we find any class of instruments where we have some discrepancy in the pricing mechanism in the sense that one particular instrument is leading the momentum and one is lagging behind. So we can figure out if there is this correlation where both of the instruments have the same trajectory but we have some lag in the movement. So in that case we can figure out the strength of the momentum and go with the best instrument which has the highest probability of continuing in the same direction. So let us now head to the JForex for the newly released trading platform from the Dukascopy Bank SA. Here we have in today's session the momentum firmly on the dollar side. If we go back to the Asian trading session, after the start of Asian trading session, there was a consolidation closer to the Friday's close. But with the start of European trading session, we saw this decline accelerating, and as the North American trading session is going to get underway very shortly, we are experiencing consolidation on the lower side for last 3 to 4 hours, where no new low is being formed. So it is going to be interesting to see if these levels are going to hold or not. If we consider the pricing momentum of the Euro USD, it has made this low of the day at 1.02260, and afterwards it has gone on to make this 4 hourly high at 1.025. So it is basically consolidating with a slight bias on the upper side now, unless there is a formation of a fresh swing low below this immediate swing low. We will have to be trading cautiously where we can try to exploit the range, but if we want to go for new short sell trades, in that case we will need a formation of the lower lows and lower highs to take place again. So we have to wait it out for that, and then only with the strong moves we can be firmly sure that we are on the right side of the momentum. So for that we will have to get the correlation right. First we have to consider these various instruments which have this momentum on the same side. So if we consider the Euro USD price moves, it continued to decline substantially. Almost if we go to the top of the day, it made the day's high at 1.032, and afterwards it has gone on to decline towards 1.022. So that's decline of almost 100 bips. So some consolidation is of course looking natural for the Euro USD. Now coming to its immediate expectations, if we look at this chart, we have the Euro USD with 2 hourly average price at 1.024. So first it will have to break below that, and in the second run, if we see it holding below the immediate swing low, then we can of course go for the initiation of the new short sell trade. Now coming to the other instruments, let us see what's happening in the other instruments of same class. The AUD USD is also experiencing this downward bias in today's trading session with a decline which got it the day's low at 0.6604, and after that it was also gone into the consolidation phase with this high 4 hourly high made at 0.6624. So the pricing trajectory has been similar. It made this day's low at 11:55 GMT. If we see the Euro USD's low, it was made at 12 GMT. So there is slight lag, not much of a difference. And then this 4 hourly high came in at 15.10 GMT. For AUD, it came in at the same time. So the trajectory for both of these is pretty much similar. If we consider the GBPUSD, it is on the lower side, it made this day's low quite late at 14:15 GMT, and it didn't really rise enough to make these 4 hourly high. So if we have to figure out the strength of this momentum on the bearish side for these currencies, then GBP is leading the pack. We have the strongest bearish momentum prevalent in the GBP USD, with it not being able to make any 4 hourly high, whereas for AUD USD and the Euro USD, we have seen the consolidation after making days low at around 12 GMT. So for any initiation of the new short sale trade, the GBP USD should be the natural choice. And if we have to again it compare with other currency crosses, then we also have to consider the currencies like NZD, USD, USDCHF, USDJPY, and USD CAD. So here the NZD USD is also on the weaker side compared to the Euro USD and the AUD USD, with it not really making any fresh 4 hourly high, and its 4 hourly low came in at around the same time, 11:55 GMT. So that is pretty much in line with what we saw for the AUD and the Euro USD. Now, coming to its immediate pricing mechanism, we have this fresh swing low in place for the NZD USD. Similar trajectory is for the GBP USD, where its low is this high is lower than this prior swing high. So that is something to be kept in mind if we want to initiate the short sell trade afterwards. And let us see the developments for the USDJPY and the USDCHF. For USDJPY and the USDCHF, if we compare these USDJPY's price, it will of course have to be inverted on the scale as the USD is the first currency. And same picture is there. The dollar has continued to gain, and it had gone on to make these days high at 142.05. Afterwards it corrected somewhat. Right now it is closer to this 1.141.67. So it is interesting to see how this thing is going to work out. Right now, the momentum is with the dollar, so I think it is better to avoid any kind of short sell trades for the dollar. So you have to continue to wait with the dollar side, and in course of time we can expect these consolidation to give way to fresh swing highs. But for that we also have to watch out this immediate swing low. So unless there is any momentum which causes the USDJPY to break below this immediate swing low, I think we have safety margin in place. So we will have to give it some more time and see how this consolidation plays out. And if there is no significant decline in immediate future, in that case we can be pretty much sure of this consolidation to again give way in course of time to a fresh rally on the higher side. But as I said, this immediate swing low has to be watched out. So that's not really far. We have only a buffer of 10 pips, and in next half an hour or so it will be a clearer picture. So here, if we compare the strength, the USD has, of course, been the strongest of these dollars rally. It made these days high quite late at 14:20 GMT. Afterwards, it hasn't really made any fresh 4 hourly low. So it is on the stronger side. And if we compare it to the GBPUSD, the GBPUSD also made these days low at around the same time. So I think it is pretty much similar. The trajectory has been pretty much similar for both of these currencies. So you can go for any of the trade. If you are betting with the dollar, then USDJPY or GBPUSD can be considered for going long in the dollar. So you will have to take a buy trade in USDJPY and short sell trade in the GBPUSD if you expect this continuation of the upward momentum in the dollar. Let us consider the USDCHF. USDCHF, this high happened quite early at 12:15 GMT. So the momentum is not really that strong as we saw for GBPUSD or USDJPY. It is having some lag. It has not gone on to make a fresh low either on the lower side. So that is something to be kept in mind. And it falls somewhere in between. It is weaker than the momentum is weaker than the USDJPY, but it is stronger than the other currencies like EURUSD and AUDUSD. So it is middle of the line. For USD CAD, it is looking like it is one of the strongest one in the market right now. On the dollar side, the CAD is seemingly weaker. So we had this fresh 4 hourly high, fresh daily high actually, just 5 to 10 minutes back. And then if we look at its lower side, the immediate swing low is at around 1.3416. So if there is no fresh break on the lower side, then we can again go for the long trade. We can expect this strength in the dollar to continue, and in course of time again a new fresh high to be formed. So for that we can continue to wait, and I think it is better placed than the GBPUSD or USDJPY for betting with the continuation of the momentum. But if you are against the trend and if you expect these dollar rally to halt or stall somewhere now, then in that case the AUD USD and the Euro USD should be given more of an focus, more of an attention. And if this consolidation holds and if we don't really see any fresh swing low being formed on the lower side, in that kind of scenario we can then go for the initiation of the the long trades in both these respective currencies. So that is a possibility if you are working with these two and betting against the momentum in the dollar. All right, now let us turn to the equity space. Let's see what's the development so far in the equity side. If we consider the Dow Jones Industrial Average price action data, it mostly spent its time consolidating in a narrow range of around 100 points for the European trading session. And as the US session is going to get underway and we are approaching the US session opening hours, we have seen some spurt on the lower side with gains of around 100 points being observed in the last 1 hour. So it will be interesting to see how things shape up now. And for the trend, we have it slightly biased on the upper side. If we go back to the day's start, the start happened closer to this day's high at 33,800. Afterward, it declined and went on to make this low at 33,600. So that's a decline of almost 200 points, somewhere just little above half a percentage point. And those decline now seems to be reversing, but it is still below the day's high. So it will be interesting to see how things shape up moving forward. But the immediate momentum, of course, seems to be on the bull side. And if we see the price action data of the European equity indices, we will have a marker of how things have shaped up there, and then we can chart our course for further expectation. The momentum was on the bearish side for European equity indices, with gains not being there. If we compare it to the Friday's close, we started the day on the negative side and then it continued to decline with fresh low being formed just 1 hour back. And after that it has rallied somewhat on the higher side with gains of around 60 points. So right now the momentum is trying to shift, but it is still not a clearer picture. And by the time we get to the start of the US equity session, I think fresh consolidation will also be there, and mostly the action will be then determined by the pricing action of the US equity indices, and we will see that lead being followed by the European equity indices. So here we have this stance on the bearish side, and if we compare it to the pricing action we are seeing in the US equity indices, something of an conflict is being seen. We have this slight bias on the upper side, which is now quite clearly visible. But for European equity indices, the bearishness is still quite strong. Let us see the chart for S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. The S&P 500 has also gone on to make this 4 hourly high, and it is not really far off from the prior high. But if we look at the day's high, it was quite early at 3,975. Afterwards, it corrected almost 1 percentage point. Now, coming to this immediate turn of events, we saw this 4 hourly low and afterwards this high being formed. So here it will have to hold on to this at least 2 hourly average price, and then if we see it consolidating and not really breaking below the immediate swing low, in that scenario this consolidation can be seen as a marker of things to change, and we can expect a move on the higher side. But right now the things are not that clear, and if we compare who is leading and who is lagging, we can see that Dow Jones is having a better momentum on the bullish side for bullish traders compared to S&P 500. The S&P 500 made this 4 hourly high quite recently, whereas the Dow turned the corner quite early. So that is something to be kept in mind. If you have the bias to go for the long trade in the equity segment, then the Dow Jones is looking like the best bet. And as we have seen three equity indices, the worst, or you can say the best bet for going short is, of course, the DAX, the Germany's equity index. The Nasdaq is also lagging. Nasdaq is even seemingly weaker compared to the S&P 500. So for any buy trade, we would do well to prefer the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And if you have the bias on the bearish side, in that case, the Nasdaq should be given the first preference, as it has made this day's low at 14:10 GMT, and afterwards it has made this high at 15:12 GMT. So it is lagging compared to the Dow Jones and S&P 500. Now let us consider other European equity indices. The FTSE 100, the FTSE 100 seems to be the best one for the bullish traders in the equity space. The low was made at 10 GMT, and afterwards it has rebounded quite sharply with substantial gains, almost closer to 1 percentage point. And if we go back earlier in the day, it did decline after starting closer to this 7,400. So it has more or less reversed all of the earlier gains and gone closer to the day's high. So for bullish momentum, the FTSE 100 seems to be the best option so far in all these equity indices. And for going short, the DAX is the best option. Let me open the DAX chart again. As you can notice, it hasn't really made this fresh high yet, and its momentum has also been fairly strong on the bearish side. Let's see what's happening in the EU Stock 50 index. Here also the momentum is bearish. The day's opening happened quite low compared to the Friday's close, and then that momentum continued. It has also not been able to reverse its decline. So it is pretty much in the company of the DAX and NASDAQ. NASDAQ has made this 4 hourly high, so that is something to be kept in mind. So we have the DAX with the strongest bias for the bearish side, and we have the FTSE 100, which is on the rise. Its bullish momentum is quite strong. So if you expect the equity space to see fresh buying after the start of US equity session, we will have this opportunity coming up for the buy trades in these equity indices, which are showing some strongly biased momentum on the bullish side. So guys, that's it from my side for today's session. If any of you have any query or any idea to share, you can write back to me in the feedback section, and I will be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage of the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page. We are also available on the Facebook. You can reach out to us there too. For trying out this newly released platform, I have also included the link for it in the bio. So give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. That's all from my side for today. I will be back tomorrow with the fresh correlation analysis to help you guide through the trades taken in the market. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.